Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope this finds you well. As you can see, I'm sharing my screen, and I'll explain why shortly. So this week's Parsha is Tetzaveh. Last week we had Teruma, and we got the commandment to build the tabernacle, the Mishkan, that the Jewish people were commanded to build to worship God in the desert. So again, the Mishkan is the portable tabernacle that the Jewish people used in the desert, while the Beit HaMikdash was the permanent temple that was in Yerushalayim in Jerusalem. So again, these words, Mishkan and Mikdash, come from the word Kadesh, holiness. So of course this makes sense. So in last week's Parsha, we learned about the sort of physical outer attributes of the temple, of the Mishkan. And then this week, we learn more about the people who did the work within the temple, which are the Kohanim, the priests. So anytime we talk about the priests, I always like to give good background about that. So that's where we are now. So if you look at this diagram, we see that it starts with Levi. As we know, Levi was one of the sons of Yaakov of Jacob, one of Joseph's brothers. So Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kehat, and Merari. Kehat had a son named Amram, and as we know, Amram is the father of Aaron and Moshe, of Aaron and Moses and Miriam. So they are all descended from the tribe of Levi. So we know that, if someone says like, oh, what tribe are Aaron and Moshe? They're the tribe of Levi, because we know that all the tribes are correspondent to the tribes of the 12 sons of Yaakov of Jacob. So Amram, and then Amram gave birth to Amram and Yocheved had Aaron, Moshe, and Miriam. So they're all Levis. Aaron and Moshe specifically are a different kind of Levi. Okay, so we have Leviim, we have Kohanim, and then we have Israel, just regular old Jews. The people who are Levis can have special jobs in the temple, but there's a special group of people within the Leviim that are Kohanim. And the special group of people within the Leviim that are Kohanim are descendants of Aaron specifically. So if we see there's a new color that starts with Aaron, it's sort of like teal blue. Moshe is a Levi, like Kehat, like Gershon, like Merari, but Aaron and his children, all of his children are Kohanim, because they are from, not only are they from Levi, but they're also from the tribe, the lineage of Aaron. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so you can see. The whole point of pointing all this out is that often it's confusing, because people are like, oh, well, when someone's last name is Cohen, or anything with a K or a C, people are like, oh, are you Kohanim? And sometimes people are, sometimes people are not. But then the confusing thing is that someone whose last name is Levi, whatever the last names are, those people are usually associated with Leviim. So technically the people whose last name is Cohen are also Leviim, but they're like a special kind of Leviim that are Kohanim. My reason for sharing that is just so that we have context for what we're talking about. So the priests are given these specific instructions on how they're supposed to dress. It's very, very detailed and really beautiful and lovely. There's the choshen, the breastplate that we've talked about. Again, this is related back to the 12 tribes, because the breastplate has 12 stones on it, each representing the 12 tribes. So the priests have this very special kind of way of dressing. They have to look a certain way. They have to act a certain way. The temple has to look a certain way. All these beautiful sort of descriptive words and descriptive sentences are used to describe what the temple should look like and what the priests should look like. And that all, can be a little bit confusing. What if you're not a Kohen? What if you're not a Levi? What if you're just regular Yisrael? You're just one of the regular people. As we mentioned, there are lots of different tribes. We don't know now. We're kind of lost to us which tribes we're all from. We know who is Levis and who are Kohanim, but we don't know what everyone else is. So we're all just Yisrael. We're all just people of the children of Israel. And so all of those people can start to feel a little unspecial. And this is when I relate. This is when I relate the idea of the Kohanim to Candy Crush. I think I talked about this last year. In Candy Crush, it's a game where there are pieces of candy. I started playing it ironically, and then I actually got pulled in because it is a very low-stakes way of giving your brain serotonin, and I think there's no shame in that. Thank you very much. I have also now started playing online Scrabble, and I also feel that it gives me a small boost of serotonin, and I appreciate that very much as well. I think there's no shame in that. I will move on. In the game of Candy Crush, your goal is to match 3 or more candies of the same shape and color together. When you match 3 candies together, great, they go away. If you match 4 candies together, you get either a striped candy of the same color or a wrapped candy of the same color. If you put 5 candies together, then you get a special sprinkled donut, and that just makes crazy things happen. And the reason that I share this is that it's not that there are special kinds of candies that just exist. There are special kind of candies when candies of the same kind come together and make something magical. So the reason I'm sharing this is that a regular candy is like Yisrael. A striped candy is like a Levi, and the wrapped candy is like the Kohanim. But all of these candies together can make the sprinkled donut that make crazy things happen. It takes all kinds. I'm in a Jewish philosophy book club, which really tracks for me as a person, and it's really great. We talk about a lot of different topics. We read a lot of different essays, but the point that we keep coming back to time and time again is that in this world, it takes all kinds of people who have all kinds of priorities. We talk about a lot of different things. It takes learners, it takes earners. It takes people who have money and people who don't. People who work hard and people who don't. The world would not go around if we didn't have different kinds of people. And for the same reason that we have presidents and city council members and mayors and principals and teachers, the same reason we have any sort of leadership role, or the reason that we have Kohanim, and that is to give. It takes all kinds. It really does. And no role is more important than the other, but it does take all kinds. So that's what I'm getting from this week's Parsha. I appreciate you listening. Please have a nice, lively discussion, and I will see you all, God willing, next week.